Read in the parsha that when the spies had come back, and 10 of the 12 had come back with ominous reports, and Klal Yisrael believed the 10 over the 2, and they began bemoaning their fate and crying. So Hashem says, I will destroy them with a plague, they will all die. So Moshe Rabbeinu comes to plead their case, to supplicate Hashem, and he says to Hashem, Hey mates kol mazeh kish echad, if you destroy these people as you destroy one individual suddenly, v'omru hagoyim asher shamu hashibcha leimor, what are the nations of the world going to say? Mibilti yicholas Hashem l'hovi yisom hazeh l'horetz asher nishba lehem, because God doesn't have the ability to bring this people into the land that He promised to them. The Yishchoti b'midbar, and He just slaughtered them in the desert. So Rashi explains what does it mean? God doesn't have the ability, doesn't have the power. Because the dwellers of Canaan, they're powerful. You can't compare defeating one king, Paro, as great as he was, defeating 31 kingdoms. That's what the nations of the world are going to say. So it'll be a chil Hashem, that God didn't bring them in because He doesn't have the power. Paro He could defeat, that's one king. But 31 kings He's not able to defeat. All the Mefarshim, the commentators, regarding the 10 plagues, every one of the Makos touched upon another aspect of existence, which demonstrated that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God is not just a power, but He is the all-powerful. He's the Almighty. There's nothing that exists within existence that He does not control, He does not dictate. Whether it's the celestial, the atmospheric, whether it's the terrestrial, everything is Him. So how is it possible to say that God doesn't have the ability to take them into Canaan, because the 31 kings versus 31 kings, there's nothing beyond God's ability. So what is the basis for the Chil Hashem? We'd read in regard to the location of the menorah that the menorah was put chutz laparoches. It was on the outer side of the curtain. Why? And also the wicks, when they were kindled, they faced inward towards the center part of the menorah. So you shouldn't think for a moment, La'orchem ani tzorich, that I need your light, because if seemingly the proper location of the menorah would be in the Kodesh Kadoshim, the Holy of Holies, alongside the Aron, because the Aron is Torah Shebechsav, is the written law, and the menorah is Torah Shebal Peh. That's where it belongs. That's the elucidation of the Torah Shebechsav. But the Torah says, Hashem says, I want it to be chutz leparoches. It should be outside the curtain. So you shouldn't think for a moment, Orchem ani tzorich. I mean, could we think for a moment that God needs our light? So what is the concept, Orchem? What is the misunderstanding that somehow God needs us? So we had said in the past that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world based on mishpat, schar v'onish. Meaning, if you're deserving, God infuses the world with kedusha, with bracha. If not, He withdraws. And God is locked into that system. He could only do if you're deserving. Once He set up the parameters of existence, He cannot override the system. That's what you may think. And therefore, He needs us to infuse the system to function as He designed the system originally. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, La'orchem ani tzorich. I don't need your light. The way things function as they do is because I will they should at that moment. God could override any system whenever He chooses to. Because even the system, when it functions, it's only because He wills it should function at that moment as it's functioning. Therefore, God is not bound. So of course God is the all-powerful. But maybe Mitzrayim He's able to defeat because the Jews only have that degree of worthiness. But to destroy 31 kings, for that, based on the system of mishpat, of justice, Jews don't have sufficient merit. But that's a chil Hashem. Because although God is the all-powerful, the almighty, but maybe he's locked into the system. Therefore, what are they going to say? That he couldn't override the system. However, if you destroy ultimately the 31 kingdoms of Canaan, that clearly demonstrate it's unrelated to their worthiness, but rather because God chose to give and God chose to take. That's exactly Lo Yomer HaGoyim. That's what they're going to say. So again, Rav Chaim Volozhin writes that Paro, even if he believed that God is the omnipotent power, but when he saw the zodiac, what he had read, that Moshe Shel Yisrael, the Redeemer of Israel, will die by water. The Jews are going to be slaughtered in the desert. Whatever he saw, he believed that cannot be changed. Nothing can be changed. Every God himself, whatever he is locked into his system. And he gives an example. If a person creates a cell with a lock which cannot be in any way opened once it's closed, and the person who developed that cell should go in there and lock himself in, he can't get out of that cell. He's locked into the cell. He said, but he created it. Doesn't make a difference. But he created a system that you can't get out of the system. God created a system. He can't get out of the system. Once the zodiac dictates whatever it may be, God cannot change that system. But factually, there's no such thing as God cannot change. God can override any system because the system itself is continuous, God willing the system to function as it functions.